It started that night.
The first report was filed at 6:32 a.m., but by then, whatever had happened was already irreversible. My name is Daniel Robert Whitaker. In 2009, I was a detective with the Yuba County Sheriff's Office in Northern California. I had worked narcotics, property crimes, even homicides, but missing persons were different. They didn't end. They just stayed open, quietly rotting in filing cabinets and people's lives. This one started with a woman who vanished on a stretch of road that shouldn't have swallowed anyone. Her full name was Melissa Ann Givens. She was 32 years old, a registered nurse. No criminal history, no substance abuse, no financial distress, no history of running away. She lived alone in a small rental house outside Marysville, Yuba County, California. Her life was routine in the way that makes disappearances harder to explain. That Melissa was last seen on the evening of October 14th, 2009. She finished a 12-hour shift at Rideout Memorial Hospital at 7:11 p.m. Security cameras caught her walking to her car in the employee parking lot. She waved at someone off camera, unlocked her silver 2006 Toyota Corolla, and drove out. She never made it home. At 11:48 p.m., a California Highway Patrol unit found her car parked crooked on the shoulder of Loma Rica Road, about 9 miles northeast of town. The engine was off. The keys were missing. The driver's door was closed, but not locked. Her purse was on the passenger seat. Her phone was gone. There were no signs of a struggle. No broken glass. No blood. No skid marks. Just her car, resting at an angle. Headlights dark. Hazard lights off. Loma Rica Road runs through a patchwork of forest, ravines, and old mining land. At night, it's black in a way cities never understand. No streetlights. No houses for long stretches. Just trees and drop-offs, and the constant sense that if something goes wrong, no one will hear you. CHP logged it as a disabled vehicle at first. Tow was requested, but when the registered owner couldn't be contacted, the vehicle was impounded and flagged. At 6:32 a.m., Melissa's mother called us. She said her daughter never missed work, never missed check-ins, never left without calling. By the time I arrived at the impound lot, the sun was barely up, and the car looked smaller than it should have, like it was already shrinking into evidence. I opened the driver's door myself. The seat was pushed back farther than Melissa's height would require. She was 5'4". Whoever had last driven the car had long legs. That detail didn't make it into the initial report. Inside the glove compartment, we found hospital paperwork, a half-eaten protein bar in the center console. No defensive damage anywhere on the interior. The trunk was empty. If she'd been forced out, it was done calmly, or by someone she trusted. Search and rescue canvassed the surrounding area for 3 days. Dogs tracked her scent from the car into the woods, then stopped abruptly at a rocky outcrop overlooking a steep ravine. No sign of a fall. No disturbed brush below. Just an ending. Melissa's phone last pinged off a tower at 8:03 p.m., roughly 20 minutes after she left the hospital. That placed her on Loma Rica Road at the time. The phone was never recovered. We interviewed co-workers, friends, and ex-boyfriend from 2 years prior. Everyone described her the same way. Dependable, cautious, private, too careful to pull over for a stranger, which meant either she knew who stopped her or she was stopped by someone who didn't give her a choice. There were no traffic stops logged on that road that night. No accidents, no emergency calls. 3 weeks into the investigation, we found something that complicated everything. A rancher reported a shoe. It was a women's athletic sneaker, size 7, white with blue trim, found nearly 5 miles from the car, down a fire road, rarely used by anyone without property access. The shoe was clean. To clean, no scuffing, no blood, No tearing. Melissa's mother identified it immediately, but there was no matching shoe and no footprints leading to or from the location. That's when the rumors started. Locals talked about an older man who lived off-grid in the hills, a transient camp that moved through the forest every winter. Stories about illegal dumping sites where no one asked questions. We chased every lead. Nothing stuck in December. We received a tip that Melissa had been seen at a gas station in Placer County, nearly 40 miles south. Surveillance footage showed a woman of similar build buying water late at night, but the timestamp was wrong. Overwritten by the system weeks later. We could never confirm it. The case cooled. Years passed. I transferred out of investigations in 2014. Melissa's file stayed open, collecting dust and supplemental reports that led nowhere in 2018. A new detective reopened it after advances in cell phone data analysis. They confirmed something we hadn't known before. Melissa's phone didn't just stop, it was powered. Down manually. At exactly 8:04 p.m., someone made that choice. In 2021, hikers found human remains in a shallow ravine 15 miles from where her car had been abandoned. Dental records ruled them out within a week. Melissa Givens, still missing. Her case remains unsolved. No suspects have ever been charged. No body has ever been found. Sometimes, disappearances aren't violent. They're quiet, organized, efficient, and that's what keeps me up at night. Because someone, somewhere, knows exactly what happened to Melissa Ann Givens, and they've lived with it for over a decade. In early 2010, the sheriff authorized a second, quieter phase of the investigation. This time, we focused less on dramatic theories and more on routine human behavior patterns people leave behind without realizing it. Bank activity, phone habits, driving routes, the small decisions that don't feel important until someone disappears. Melissa's bank account told a simple story. No withdrawals after October 14th. No unusual deposits before. Her credit cards were never used again. Whoever intervened in her life did not do it for quick financial gain. Her coworkers confirmed something else. Melissa never took Loma Rica Road home. It wasn't the fastest route. It wasn't the safest. She preferred well-lit streets, even if it added time. The only reason to be on that road was if you were meeting someone or following instructions. We reviewed every known contact she had made that day. Texts, calls, emails. There was a short call at 7:42 p.m. from a number registered to a prepaid phone. No name, no billing address. The call lasted 46 seconds. The number went dead the next morning. That detail still bothers me. Prepaid. Phones weren't rare in 2009, but they weren't casual either. Someone had planned to speak to her briefly and disappear. We tried reconstructing her final drive. A traffic camera several miles from the hospital showed her Corolla. Passing through an intersection at 7:28 p.m., she was alone. No sign of distress. Nothing out of the ordinary. Then the camera stopped. Everything beyond that was rural darkness. We interviewed residents along Loma Rica Road again. Most remembered nothing. A few mentioned seeing headlights pulled over briefly that night, but couldn't agree on the time or vehicle. One elderly man recalled hearing a car door close around 8 p.m., but thought nothing of it. No one reported shouting. No struggle. No crash, which suggested compliance. Someone convinced Melissa to stop. The shoe discovery continued to raise questions. We had it examined carefully. There was no soil embedded in the tread. No organic material consistent with long-distance walking. It hadn't been worn to reach that location. It had been placed. Why leave one shoe? Not as evidence, not as a mistake, almost as a message. But to whom? Melissa's mother asked that question more than once. She came into the station every few months, polite and composed, bringing folders of notes and theories she'd written herself. She never accused anyone outright. She just wanted us to keep looking. That was the hardest part, because there were days when we had nothing to give her except reassurance that the file was still open. In 2012, a hunter reported finding a hospital ID badge in a creek bed near the Yuba River. For a week, we thought we had our break. It wasn't hers. It belonged to another person who lost it years earlier. False hope became a pattern. Every potential lead collapsed under scrutiny. Sightings couldn't be confirmed. Tips contradicted each other. Time worked against us, blurring memories and erasing small details that might have mattered. By the time technology improved enough to reanalyze cell data, most of the surrounding towers had been decommissioned or upgraded. Records were incomplete. We learned just enough to know the truth was still out there. Someone had turned her phone off, not thrown it away, not smashed it, powered it down. That's a deliberate act in missing person work. That usually means one of two things. The person chose to disappear, or someone else made sure they couldn't be contacted. Nothing in Melissa's life suggested she wanted to vanish. No packed bags, no goodbye messages, no financial preparation, no strained relationships severe enough to justify walking away forever. She had plans, a vacation scheduled, a lease renewal pending, a job she liked. People don't erase themselves from stable lives. As the years passed, the area around Loma Rica Road changed. New homes went up. Old fire roads were gated. Places that once felt isolated became semi-developed. If something had been hidden nearby, the window to find it quietly closed. In 2019, the case was reviewed again by a cold case unit. They cataloged everything digitally, photographed evidence, logged interviews anew. Nothing new emerged. Melissa Ann Givens remains listed as missing under California law. Her car is long gone, auctioned after years in evidence storage. Her room at her mother's house remains untouched. Cold cases don't end with answers. They end with silence, and silence can last a very long time. I retired, not knowing what happened to her, but I know this much. She didn't simply disappear. Someone helped that happen. And somewhere between the hospital parking lot and the dark stretch of Loma Rica Road, a decision was made that permanently altered one family's life. That decision has never been accounted for, which is why, even now, this case is still open, and why every October, when the nights get longer, I still think about a silver Corolla sitting alone on the shoulder of a road that wasn't supposed to matter.